Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar today, and happy new month of September. I'm Ray Savage from Cambium Networks, and joining us today is John Seaman for our session on Ask John Anything about fixed wireless broadband. The session is being recorded, and we will be posting it to our community, and you'll find many other sessions there as well if you want to take a look. Also, a special thing we have today, if you want to download a 7-question solution paper where John answers questions about fixed wireless broadband, you can find that by just downloading that in the, if you go to your control panel on the right-hand side. The questions are all yours. This is your program today. So the easy way to do that is just to go to the question and answer section of the dialog box on the right-hand side of your screen, type your question, and what I'll do is be able to relay that to John. And at the end of the presentation, again, the recording will be posted to the community. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Without any further ado, John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Ray. First of all, thanks for setting up the webinar. As I was joking earlier, I'm not sure why I agreed to this. Ask me anything can be a little bit dangerous, but you know, it's what I do every single day is answer questions. So hopefully I'll be able to answer whatever comes up today. I've been in the fixed wireless broadband industry for, wow, about 18 years. I started out with a different company. Started out selling a lot of multi-point gear, so I've been doing this for a long time. And then kind of moved into point-to-point, so I had a good amount of experience with licensed band microwave. And then I joined Cambium about 3 years ago, and what's kind of cool about this whole progression is seeing the WISP industry, the fixed wireless broadband industry, just grow and explode. And a lot of the same guys that I was dealing with like 18 years ago, guys who I met operating out of a 1-room office or their garage, you know, they've grown and now they're large regional players, you know, 100 people on staff and continuing to thrive actually these days more than ever. So been doing this a while, and let's see what kind of questions come up, and we'll take it from there.
Great. I think you had just a quick background introduction that you wanted to go through on the slides. If you want to take a few minutes there, and I'd
Sure.
like to remind our audience members, please open the question and answer dialog box. Submit your questions to John. Anything you want to know about fixed wireless broadband.
Sure. So, you know, one of the questions that comes up a lot, and it's just to kind of get the conversation going, is what sets Cambium apart? What's the Cambium Advantage? Cambium has been at this a long time, going back earlier to the, you know, the early Motorola years, but the product lines have evolved. We have multiple product lines, very mature, very extensive feature sets. And some of the key things that become really important for broadband operators are getting the most out of the spectrum, right? You're dealing with unlicensed spectrum, in some cases, lightly licensed spectrum, CBRS. You need to be able to get as much capacity and serve as many customers as you can with that limited spectrum. And so that comes down to spectral efficiency. And Cambium does that better than anyone else through techniques such as very evolved algorithms that are very, very efficient in the way that they deliver bandwidth to lots of users. We use multi-user MIMO. We use frequency reuse. We do that with GPS synchronization so that you can reuse the same frequencies back to back. And you need to deal with interference. So the radios are designed by a great engineering team that enables interference tolerance through filtering and really good antennas and just really good radio designs. And you need to manage this stuff. And we have an award-winning management platform called cnMaestro that enables you to manage a large network, do all sorts of things, monitor, manage, push firmware upgrades, very rich feature sets that today's WISPs need, and a roadmap too. None of these products are static. They're in a kind of a continuous state of evolution and improvement. And part of the package also is technical support. Cambium really prides itself on great technical support. We have not only our tech support team, but our regional technical managers there to assist new customers, existing customers, and all the multi-point gear comes with a standard 3-year warranty. And just one other slide, and we'll kind of land on this because after this it's Q&A. The topic today is point-to-multipoint, and as of today, Cambium offers 3 platforms. And the platforms are the PMP 450, which is kind of known as the, whoops, sorry about that. Let's go back. As the highest capacity, it's the more scalable platform. And with the 450, this is where we introduced massive multi-user MIMO, which is the ability for the access point to communicate with multiple subscribers at the same time. And on the 450 platform, we do that at a very high level. In the 5 gig, it's 14 by 14. In the 3 gig, it's 8 by 8. This platform also supports various bands, 5 gigahertz, CBRS, 3 gigahertz, 900 megahertz. We also do 2.4. And then there's the ePMP 3000, which is really kind of our, it's more got a little bit more compelling price point, I guess you could say. It's built more on a Wi-Fi chipset, but we're a little bit ahead of the others out there in that it's built on a Wave 2, AC Wave 2 chipset. And we've also brought MIMO into this platform. And then the third one, which is the newest entry, also with kind of a bright future ahead of it, is cnRanger. Ranger is our fixed LTE product. Came out late last year, 2.5 gigahertz today, 3 gigahertz CBRS coming right around the corner. And what sets that one apart from some of the others out there is it's very simplified type implementation with Ranger. We've got the core or the EPC virtualized and put into the baseband unit. And what we've done there is really just kind of simplified LTE for easier deployment.
Well, great. CBRS is actually one of the hot topics, and we've got a couple of questions here on CBRS. Again, if you do have your question and you'd like to ask it, ask John anything you want, you can use the question and answer dialog box. I guess the first one is, John, how does somebody get started using CBRS? And I know that's unique to United States and North America, right?
Sure. So CBRS, it is a new way of utilizing the spectrum that the FCC came up with here in the United States. It's a very innovative approach to sharing the spectrum. And with CBRS, we've been able to, or the FCC allowed 100 megahertz more spectrum than we had before. So previously we had 50 megahertz, now it's 150 megahertz, and it's a shared spectrum approach. So the big new concept with CBRS is that all the devices operating in the band are required to connect to a centralized entity called a spectrum allocation system, or the SAS. And the SAS is basically frequency coordinating and approving frequencies for use, and it kind of makes sure that you don't interfere with others and they don't interfere with you, and there's a whole priority system set up for it. And Cambium worked very closely with the WIN Forum, which is the CBRS Alliance, to make sure that all of our 3 gigahertz products, we've been in the 3 gig business for a very long time, tons of 3 gig product out there in the US, but we were able to make sure that it all got certified under the CBRS rules. We developed all the software to make sure that it connects to the SAS. We developed the software within cnMaestro to enable management within CBRS and with the SAS. And we operate with 3 of the big SAS providers, CommScope, Google, Federated Wireless. And we rolled this out this year. It's been a hugely successful rollout, and bringing on more and more devices into the SAS every single day. And anybody interested in deploying CBRS in the US, we can help you with that. It's pretty well-defined process now. We've got tons of documentation, lots of people to help.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the other questions we had is it difficult to manage the SAS plus the equipment?
It's not difficult because we have made it simple through the cnMaestro interface. So a lot of the complexities of the SAS are taken care of by Maestro. So as you're rolling out CBRS, you're really just, the main obligation as an operator is to import the devices. So what the SAS wants to know is, where are the devices and where are they aimed? And with all that information easily input through Maestro, it really kind of facilitates an easier rollout of CBRS. So pretty simple implementation, lots of experience we've had already doing it. Lots of our customers have done it. And again, we can help anybody that is interested in pursuing that.
Okay. We did have one question that came in. Does Cambium Networks offer a 900 megahertz solution?
We do. So that is a frequency band which is sometimes kind of forgotten about because there's not a lot of spectrum in 900. There's only like 26 megahertz of spectrum in the entire 900 megahertz band. But it is a fantastic spectrum because it is low frequency, and the lower frequencies propagate extremely well. They propagate through trees. You can, it's your non-line of sight frequency. In areas that are, I would say, rural areas, areas that you don't have local utilities running a lot of smart metering and stuff like that uses the 900 band. So there's huge areas where 900 is very usable, and our PMP 450 product line offers a variant in the band. It's the 450i access points and the PMP 450 subscriber modules. And it's a good overlay frequency. Typically we recommend using all the tools that you have, all the frequency bands that you have available, 5 gig for your line of sight, because there's tons of spectrum there. Nowadays, 3 gigahertz, whether it's CBRS or in other parts of the world, the traditional 3 gigahertz rules, which has some non-line of sight properties. You do a lot of near non-line of sight with 3 gigahertz. And then for the hardest to reach areas, 900 megahertz is very, very useful.
Great. One question that came in, can we use the same frequency on a tower? How do you configure the radios for frequency reuse or front and back sectors?
Sure. Well, that's kind of a fundamental, basic feature of the Cambium product line, the 450 and the ePMP. Since day one, we knew it was really important to enable frequency reuse. The way we do it is by synchronizing all the radios on the network. You synchronize them whether they're on the same tower or even towers spread out across a larger network. We synchronize using GPS. So GPS satellites provide a timing signal, and it's the same timing signal coming down, anywhere in the world, but we use that timing signal to synchronize the transmissions. So all access points are transmitting at the same time and they're receiving at the same time. Same thing on the subscribers. And when you implement GPS sync, that allows you then, when you have the good antennas with good front to back ratios, to reuse that same exact channel back to back on a tower, and then reuse it across the network. With some proper planning, we can help plan frequency, do frequency planning using link planner, but the basic goal is to use as few frequencies as you need across the entire network. And in a lot of situations, you can do it with 2 or 4 frequencies. It's just a matter of proper network design, implementation of GPS synchronization, and making sure everything is set up correctly, and you'll be able to make a lot of use out of the spectrum.
Okay. Here's one. What's the difference between ePMP 2000 and ePMP 3000?
Okay, so ePMP has been evolving just like the PMP 450 has been evolving, just like cnRanger, even though it's new, it will be evolving. ePMP specifically, we started out with the 1000, the 2000. Today we're on the 3000. You can probably guess what's next. In the 3000, we went to the latest and greatest Wi-Fi chipsets, which are 802.11 AC Wave 2. The ePMP 2000 is built on 802.11n technology. So when we went to AC Wave 2, AC gave us 2 things. Higher modulation, so now we can do 256 QAM, so that's a big boost in capacity right there. It also gave us the ability to operate on 80 megahertz channels, which when you're running 80 megahertz channel and 256 QAM modulation, that's a lot of capacity. You can't always find 80 megahertz channels, but you do have that ability. The other thing the 3000 brought is multi-user MIMO. And this platform is the only one in its class that actually does MU-MIMO. And it does 4x4, which means it can do, the access point has the ability to do 2 streams, horizontal, vertical, and communicate with 2 subscribers at the same time, effectively doubling the capacity of an access point that was only able to do single user MIMO. So big improvement, more to come. We have another generation. It's constantly evolving. The one thing that we've always done with ePMP and the 450 product line is maintain forward and backward compatibility. So that is really important for today's operators. If you're deploying ePMP 3000 today, but you came from an ePMP 2000 network, you didn't have to go out and truck roll and replace all the subscriber modules that were out there under the older radios, because it's all compatible. So it gives you a graceful upgrade path, and we'll continue that with next generation.
Great. David online has a question about, he's trying to figure out the cost of a configuration. And he asks, can you briefly explain the pricing model of PMP? I'm going to assume it's 450. Hardware features, and is there any monthly or annual management fee?
The product line is sold as products. So we're selling radios. Cambium has never really charged for any service. The management platform is free. cnMaestro has a huge amount of capability. It's a free tool. There are some features that we have plans in the future to make a premium feature. There may be a charge for that. But okay, the pricing model is pretty straightforward, right? Products are out there. You can go look up pricing. Yeah, it's out there on the web. What you're going to see is MSRP out there on the web. Check with your reseller, check with your distributors. They'll tell you the real price. There is some discounts offered. There's volume discounts. There's things like that. Work with your Cambium rep, work with your distributor, and that's it, really. The only area where there's a recurring charge today is in the world of CBRS, and this only affects operators in the US that are using 3 gigahertz under the new rules. Remember earlier I mentioned the SAS, right? That's the system that kind of like coordinates all the frequencies in 3 gigahertz. There is a fee to use the SAS. That's how the FCC kind of set it up. You're not actually buying a license to operate in CBRS, but you are paying to use the SAS. The way it works out here is it comes out to $3 a month per subscriber. And all of that is handled through cnMaestro. So Maestro now has a billing functionality. And when you set up in CBRS, you are going to be asked to enter some payment information. And that, something to be aware of as you step into CBRS and all the benefits it provides. There is a cost associated with it, but aside from that, that's it. We do have upgraded warranty programs. We do have upgraded technical support programs, but even technical support is free. And I guess that has worked out really well. I think it's really important for a lot of the operators just to have access to that support and all those resources.
Yeah, and also we have an online community which is free where you can post questions, you can share best practices with other network operators from around the world. Let's say, John, for example, if somebody doesn't know who their reseller is or who they can contact, what's the best place to get started?
CambiumNetworks.com. It would be a good place to start. Go to how to buy. There's a drop down there, select your region, and then what you're going to see is all of our top partners are going to pop up there. We sell through a network of distributors and value-added resellers, or they're known as connected partners, the Cambium Connected Partner Program. Globally, we have a vast network of partners and resellers and distributors. Or just reach out to Cambium, through the website, or we'll have my contact information here on my last slide. But just feel free to reach out to Cambium, and we'll get you in touch with the right partner.
Okay, here's a good one. You're going to like this one. Is it possible to co-locate Cambium equipment with another network?
Co-location with Cambium Network, obviously very straightforward. We already talked about that. Whether it's ePMP or 450 or combination of ePMP plus 450, you can co-locate, you can synchronize. Other equipment, the answer is yes. The one example I have is PMP 450 in 3 gigahertz. Co-location with LTE equipment. So in the 3 gigahertz spectrum, there is Cambium, PMP 450, soon to be cnRanger, and then there's LTE equipment. They use that band. The 450 has the ability to synchronize with LTE. So yes, you can synchronize through some settings. We have some guidelines on how to do this. But yes, co-location with LTE product in the 450, yes, absolutely, 100% possible.
Okay, we just got this question in from Dinesh. How many stations can be associated in an ePMP 2000 and at what distances. And I think
Yeah,
what he's
okay.
thinking about is from an ePMP 2000 access point, how many subscriber modules can it support,
Mm-hmm.
and what would be your typical range?
Okay. Great question. Thank you, Dinesh. It's a very common question. That one was like, how many subscribers can you connect? How fast can it go? And how far can it go? Those are the three most common questions I get. And the answer always is the same. Well, it depends. And people don't like that answer. It depends. Why does it depend? It depends on so many factors. A lot of it depends on how good is the signal quality. Signal quality is determined by interference, but let's assume you have good signal quality. You don't have a big interference noise floor out there. Another factor is, what are you trying to sell? What speed packages do your customers require? Are you selling 3 megabit packages, 25 megabit packages, 50 megabit packages, 100 megabit packages? That plays into the equation very, very heavily. Obviously, the higher speeds you're offering, the service level you're committing is going to have a big effect. And the other part is oversubscription. How much do you want to oversubscribe? And oversubscription can be anywhere from 4 to 1, 8 to 1, 10 to 1, 12 to 1. It just kind of depends. But what is the number of stations that can connect? Well, if you look at the ePMP spec sheet, it says 128. Okay. Is that really practical? Probably not, because today's broadband users aren't going to be happy with 1 or 2 megabits. Okay, you got about 100 megabits of spectrum available on a 20 megahertz channel. You need to divide that up among the users. I have heard 60, for example. We're talking about ePMP 2000. I think by today's standards of what people want for broadband, when they're streaming Netflix and everybody's online at the same time, that number goes down. Maybe 45 is the right number. Maybe if conditions aren't ideal, maybe 30 is going to be it. I've heard of 80. It kind of depends. It varies. ePMP is very scalable for its class. It's very scalable because software is really, really well designed. You know, it's designed for scalability. Same thing on the 450. The 450 takes it to a higher level, especially when you introduce multi-user MIMO, and we're able to just get a lot more. I hope that answers the question. It's subjective, it depends, but that's kind of typical of what I've seen with the 2000. You'll get more with the 3000. There's just more capacity and it does move MIMO. So.
Yeah, and I think that's another case where, because it really does depend so much, a great opportunity would be to speak with somebody from one of our resellers who has specific expertise, engage on the community to talk with people who are operating networks today and doing it as and being successful and satisfying their end customers.
There's a couple of tools that we have that help answer the question for your specific situation. One is Link Planner. So Link Planner is where you want to start. I don't think I talked about that much, but it's a fantastic planning tool. Link Planner is going to pretty much tell you how much capacity you have. And the subscribers that are farther away, this was part of the question, I guess I didn't answer. Farther away reduces your overall throughput, because those farther away subscribers are not going to connect at the highest possible speed. And that's going to mean that the access point is allocating a little more resources to deal with the guy that's far away. It doesn't affect the stability or anything like that. This is not a contention-based system. But anyway, getting back to Link Planner, it's going to help us determine, you know, what is this particular sector going to look like. And another tool that we have is a spreadsheet-based tool called Capacity Planner. And with Capacity Planner, we can enter things like, well, what is the oversubscription ratio? How many plans do we want to sell that are 25 by 3 or 10 by 2? These are tools that, give you a pretty good idea of what to expect. And the Cambium sales team and the regional tech managers can help you with those types of questions for your specific scenario.
Great, and just so everybody knows, in the chat section, I have posted that you can find Link Planner. There's kind of a special way to spell that, and the Capacity Planner on the website. We also have a handout that you can download for free right now if you want. It's a solution paper with 7 questions with John sharing his expertise. John, one last question we've got in the queue right now is why would I choose a proprietary system?
A proprietary system as opposed to maybe an LTE system. So proprietary to me means it's sort of, we'll define what that means first of all. Proprietary means it's interoperable only with devices within its own product family. So for example, ePMP, even though it's built on a Wi-Fi chipset, it's a proprietary system in a way because aside from, some exceptions, the devices in the network all have to be kind of like on the same family. So in other words, ePMP talks to ePMP, or, we have the ability with ePMP to talk to what we call elevated subscriber units. Same thing on the 450. A 450 device, 8 access points only talk to the subscriber modules, which are PMP 450. Proprietary-based systems, and I'm speaking for Cambium's proprietary-based systems, we have taken the best approach to maximizing the amount of capacity and the amount of subscribers that can be connected using a very, very cost-effective platform. And the fact that it's proprietary is just due to the fact that our engineers have really used the best of their abilities to make it work very, very efficiently. A non-proprietary type system would be LTE. So we get compared to LTE all the time, and I don't want to speak badly of LTE because we actually have a great LTE product called cnRanger. There is a place for standards-based products like LTE. The thing about LTE to remember is that it was designed for mobility. Mobility is a very complex undertaking. Mobility requires, roaming and, ability to hand off between cells when a car is going 80 miles an hour down the freeway and the call doesn't drop, and a cloud core where authentication takes place. And there's a lot of complexity there. LTE was also designed to really favor the downlink speed. So one of the things about LTE that we don't have to deal with in our proprietary systems is LTE is really uplink limited just because of the way it was designed. It's more designed to send bandwidth down. Yes, you can send some up, but the ratio is not as good as what we can do on the proprietary systems. So the bottom line is this: LTE is nice. There's some nice things about it, but when you compare to like the PMP 450 with massive multi-user MIMO, 14 by 14 or 8 by 8, very refined, very mature algorithms for handling bandwidth in a fixed wireless scenario, we are able to get much more capacity. It just comes down to more capacity, more users, and it's very cost effective. So, I think that's kind of the main reason why you would choose a proprietary system. You're just going to be able to get more scalability, more capacity, and just more frequency choices and things of that nature.
Okay, we do have one more question from Dinesh. Is it possible to assign different VLANs to each subscriber module that's registered in a master ePMP device?
Dinesh had to trip me up with a VLAN question. But I think we have my backup online. If he's there, Chinmay.
Hey, hi, John.
Hey, there he is. There's your question. VLANs on ePMP. What do you have to say?
Yes, so if Dinesh, you're asking about management VLAN, then yes, you can assign different management VLAN to different subscriber modules. If you are talking about data VLAN, then yes, on subscriber module, if you go to network configuration, you would be able to see the data as well as membership VLAN configuration options. And yes, you can have different VLANs for different subscriber modules for data as well as membership VLANs as well. So, yep, I hope that answers this question.
Great,
I
thanks
think so.
very much.
Yeah, thanks Dinesh for tripping up the sales guy here. But fortunately, I was prepared with my backup. Same is true on the 450, by the way. Those capabilities exist on the other platform.
Great, well, that's all the questions we had in the queue today, John. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us today. Also, for the audience members, don't forget, if you go into your control panel, go under handouts, you'll be able to find a 7-question solution paper with John. Well, we will be sharing the recording of this webinar on the community, and we look forward to seeing you at a future webinar. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.